61, post-menopausal, 100 days. Janet Jackson, 1995 body. Can it be done? We're going to find out.
Out of the blue, I'm changing my tune. They think I'm singing off key and coming unglued.
How much protein does a perimenopausal woman trying to gain muscle actually need to eat per day? Good question. Good morning. Today is day 5 of the 100-day challenge that I've set for myself in an effort to achieve the 1995 Janet Jackson body. That's the body that you see in her fantastic videos, Scream, that she did with her brother Michael Jackson, and If. Is it possible? That's what we're trying to find out, and that's the journey that we're on together. The question that I had for myself today, and a friend mentioned this to me the other day, is how much protein does a perimenopausal woman trying to gain muscle actually need to eat per day? Good question. The answer to that question is it varies, and you have to figure out what's right for you. I can tell you what I'm doing, and I can tell you how I came at the numbers that I'm using, besides talking to my AI agency, of course, and creating this plan for myself. Generally speaking, as we get older, and particularly after going through menopause or perimenopause, we are losing muscle mass every single day. We're losing muscle mass, and kind of the body composition that we have is changing. It's becoming more fatty, less muscular. And it gets harder to be able to retain muscle or put muscle on. There is a name for that loss of muscle mass that we experience as we get older. It's called sarcopenia. So you can look that up, sarcopenia. Well, everybody's different. And the amount of protein that you need for your body to help change that body composition is going to vary depending on a number of different factors. How much exercise are you doing, and what kind of exercise are you doing? Now, I'm putting myself on a resistance training, a weightlifting schedule 4 times a week. So I'm actually increasing the load on my muscles. And every time I'm lifting those weights, I'm causing a little bit of micro damage to occur in my muscles so that they heal and they grow bigger afterwards. And in order to do that, they need the right building blocks, which are amino acids and protein. And particularly branched chain amino acids, which, if I recall correctly, are leucine, isoleucine, and valine. We'll have to look that one up, but the branched chain amino acids. So because I'm lifting now on a regular basis, I actually need more protein than I would need if I weren't doing any exercise at all, particularly weightlifting. Generally speaking, I think you'd be safe to say if you had between 1 gram and 2 grams per kilo per day of protein, you'd be in a good place. Now, for me, I know that in order for me to put muscle on, which is difficult in your 60s, I need to eat extra protein. And I need to be eating protein in every single meal that I have throughout the day. I like to go kind of right in the middle of that range. And this is evidence-based. You can do some research on this by yourself, and you can look at what the science and the research says. But for me, about 1.5 grams per kilo per day of protein, I believe, is going to help me get where I want to go. Now, not everybody can eat 1.5 grams per kilo per day. That ends up being, for me, I weigh 87 kilos this morning, which is a good thing, by the way, guys. I was down another 0.2 yesterday. So 87 kilos is what I weighed in at this morning. So for me, that's going to calculate quickly, to do the math, somewhere around 150 grams of protein per day. Well, one sirloin steak, 200-gram sirloin steak is going to contain around 65 grams of protein. My eggs in the morning, right? I'm going to have 3 eggs plus 150 grams of egg whites. That's going to be probably another 40 or 50 grams of protein. So already I'm up over 100 with those two meals, which are my two main meals. But I also am giving myself two snacks per day, and I'm making sure that each of those snacks has a fair amount of protein in them as well. So if I have one of my snack, I'm having tuna or sardines. That's going to give me additional protein. And then another of my snacks, I'm having the cottage cheese. That's a high protein cottage cheese or Greek yogurt. And that's going to increase my protein too. So my goal for me is about 150 grams of protein per day, which is where I'm at. As my weight changes, I'll adjust those figures a little bit, but I know that I can tolerate that. Now, why can I tolerate that? Because I'm otherwise a healthy woman. I don't have any kidney disease or any liver disease or any other chronic sort of ailments that I carry with me. I don't take any medications other than my melatonin at night to help me sleep. So I know that my gut and my liver can process that amount of protein, and I'm not going to do myself any harm, and I'm not going to gain weight from eating those protein calories. On the other hand, you may be different. So it's important to figure that out for yourself and talk to a professional about that. I'm not that person. I'm not giving you any advice here, but I'm just telling you what I do and what I need. And that is indeed based on the current recommendations out there. So I'm not doing anything that's like out of whack or something like that. So 150 grams of protein per day is what's going to do it for me. That is right between the 1 to 2 grams per kilo per day. If you were doing heavier workouts, like some real heavy body, I'm sure some bodybuilders and really heavyweight lifters would say they eat even more protein than that. And again, that's if your body can tolerate that. So that's the answer to the question for me. I feel really good with the eating plan that I have right now. And obviously, it's being reflected on the scale. So that's where I'm at. Do some research. There's a lot of great information out there. Be careful what sources you're getting your information from. Make sure that they're evidence-based and scientific. There's a lot of confusing information out there about nutrition, and I don't want to add to your confusion. God knows throughout the decades I've been totally confused. But I do know that this works for me. And we're going to see the results as we're going on. And, hey, like my arms look really good. I've got a lot of muscle under here. It's just the fat that we're trying to get rid of. So on that note, what's the plan for today? Today we are going to our lower body again. So we did lower body, upper body. Yesterday I had a day of sort of recovery, but a little bit of gentle exercise. I did some core abdominal work and I got on the spin bike, which again, that's why we had another down 0.2 kilos, which is very exciting. So we're doing really well with the plan. So what's going to happen today? Lower body. I'm going to get on the spin bike and do some little hip mobility exercises at the beginning for 5 to 10 minutes. We're going to start with deadlifts again. And I have 10 kilo dumbbells. That's the heaviest that I have. In my first set of deadlifts the other day, I used 6 kilos. Today, the plan is to do 4 sets of 8 instead of 10 reps. So I'm going to actually go up to the 2 10-kilo weights and see how I feel. At least I'll start there. I might have to go back down to 6 kilos after the first couple of sets, but I'm going to start with 2 10-kilo weights. Step ups on the bench. I'm going to do this very slowly and very controlled. That's a lot of glute and thigh action there. I have a sturdy bench, but we're going to take it easy. We don't want any falls on that one. Single leg Romanian deadlifts. Now, this is going to be a little tricky for me from a balance perspective. A few decades ago, I broke my right ankle, and I tend to be a little less stable on that ankle than on the other side. But we're going to take it nice and easy, a single leg Romanian deadlift. So I'll have one leg off the ground and bending over into my deadlift using just a light dumbbell on the bottom to help me balance. I'll have a chair or a bench next to me to help with that balance in case I need it. That's going to be a challenge. Hamstring curl. Now, the hamstring curls I'm going to do with a band, which means I'm just going to lay on the ground, put a band around my ankles, and then pull my leg up, bring my heel to my butt with the band on. That will be the resistance that I apply. Some frog pumps. Now, these are not fun. And I'm doing 3 sets of 20. Oh my goodness, that's going to be joy. Not. And then a wall sit to end it all, trying to hold 60 seconds, leaning up against the wall in a chair position, a right angle chair position. And then finish it up with a nice cool down on the spin bike. Okay, I'm ready. Are you? Let's get going. Okay, we did it. Day 5 of the 100-day challenge is done. Oh my goodness, I am like so dripping wet. It was a really good workout today. So we focused on the lower body today, doing a full lower body strength workout, a little bit heavier weights, a little more repetitions. What we did today was warmed up on the spin bike for a little bit and got the hip joints all loosened up. And then some dumbbell deadlifts, and I used the 10 kilo weights in both hands, so a total of 20 kilos. And I did 4 sets of 10. Then we did step ups up on the bench, so 10 times on each side, and being really careful about my balance to make sure that I don't fall off the bench. Then single leg Romanian deadlifts. I used a 6 kilo weight in one hand for balance, had the bench on the other side of me. So just in case I needed to tap down on that, but basically doing the same thing as a deadlift, but only on one leg and a weight to help me stay balanced. Did 3 sets of 8 on each side. A band hamstring curl. So I took a yellow band and just tied it up into a circle, placed it around the base of one foot and then the ankle of the other, and lifted up the leg that had it around the ankle to do a hamstring curl. And I did 3 sets of 12 with that. The froggy pumps had my legs in a frog position, and then in the bridge position, lifted up those hips to get some really tight glute isolation there. 3 sets of 20 on those. And for one of the sets, I added a 6 kilo weight. The other 2 sets, I'm like, nah. And then last we did our wall sits, and I did it for 60 seconds. So a full minute, the first round, and then the second round for 45 seconds because my legs were tired and my thighs were burning. And then back on the spin bike for a cool down. I'm going to be really happy to eat my breakfast this morning, and it's going to be a high protein breakfast, having 3 eggs plus 150 grams of egg whites, and then a whole bunch of little chopped up vegetables in between, which are all really low calorie, but capsicum has lots of great vitamin C in it. So a little capsicum, onion, maybe some mushrooms and some spinach again. And that'll be my breakfast. Totally going to stay hydrated today. I can just feel the sweat pouring off of me. I don't want to get a headache, and I don't want to feel like I'm totally parched. So again, I might have a second dose of electrolytes, keep the salts in my body, as well as get my 2.5 liters plus in today, and make sure I continue having protein with every meal. Remember, I'm eating about 1.5 grams per kilo per day, divided across my 2 meals and 2 snacks. And that may or may not be right for you. You'll have to kind of test and trial, do your research, get a little help from a professional. But we're trying to build that extra muscle, and it is harder as we get older, and especially being post-menopausal and going through a decrease in muscle mass and a change in our body composition. I'm trying to reverse that cycle and do it in the opposite. And I'm so glad that you're happy. I'm so happy that you're coming along the journey with me. You can tell I'm really tired, right? Oh my God, I'm so tired. That's all we have for today. I'm going to go ahead and tick off my day 5 plan, which is complete. Woohoo! That's day 5. Thank you so much for being with me today. That's all there is for today. This is Life with Dr. Shari Hall, the 100-day challenge, and I'll see you soon. So, if you're enjoying what you're seeing so far and you'd like to continue on the journey with me, or perhaps you just need a little friendship or some inspiration or motivation as you start your own transformation journey, feel free to click the subscribe button below. I'd love to have you along. So, subscribe. Okay.